Welcome. In this video, we're going to go over how to play Dungeons & Dragons Adventure Begins cooperative board game. So down at the table, this is a cooperative board game for 2 to 4 players. I'm going to say it's probably best with 3 to 4. And it is a light game. So if you're looking for deep strategy, I think this is more of a let's teach someone else how to play and get them familiar with rolling dice. And like I said, this is not made for solo play. Some of the cards may not make sense. I'm just going to work my way through it. So for setup, we have 4 bosses we can go through. Nothing says D&D to me like a big old beholder, so that's going to be the boss we go after. Gives us a location we're going to start with, so that's going to be our final location. So I've taken that, put that here on the board. So Felberus, a beholder of great powers, invaded Gonal Grim and claimed it from the dwarves as its own. Soon after it arrived, it fell into a deep sleep filled with nightmares. As Felberus dreams, its alien mind warps reality, changing the cities it's invaded and making it impossible for the citizens to return. Stop it before the whole city unravels. So just taking a closer look at our city boards, basically it's divided in. We have core spaces down the center, monster spaces on the side, and the last space in each one is a gatekeeper space where we're going to either face the final boss or one of its bigger minions. So for setup, we're going to find our big standee here and put that at the end on the final space. And I'll go ahead and just lay that down. Probably show it better on camera that way. Connected the other boards. And each boss has 3 gatekeepers, so we're going to set those at the end of each board. So when we get to these spaces, we will battle those creatures. Then each board comes with its own encounter deck or adventure decks. We're just going to place those next to each of those boards. So Gonal Grim, Neverwinter Wood, Mount Hotnail, or however it gets properly pronounced. And lastly, we'll be starting with Neverwinter. So we're going to take this stack of cards, which has 2 different types. We're going to have creatures. It's going to show us our health, some flavor text, and what they do when they attack us. And then for everyone involved in the fight, this will give us our rewards. Then we'll have some scenario cards. That's going to have some text, an action item, and then consequences. So we will shuffle this stack of cards, and then we're going to place it in a card holder here on the bottom. And we will be able to see what type of card is coming up next. Oops. Looks better if I keep them in there. Then we'll have an item deck. Give that a shuffle. And we'll place that nearby. Got some gold tokens off to the side. Then we need to set up our characters. So I'm going to go ahead and just place these at the starting space. Then when choosing our character, basically we have 3 sections we need to fill out. The first is just going to be picking a side. So we've got an elf bard. This looks more like our mini. So we're going to take our health tracker, make sure it's a 10. Slide this in. Then we have 4 options here, and while they're all different text, all the abilities are somewhat similar. So here, once per dungeon board, you may sing to re-roll a low roll. So all of our characters have something that lets us re-roll. So it gives us our personality, some traits, and our special ability, which we can do once per board. So here helps with healing. Here we're a scholar. So elves are long-lived and have profound wisdom. They know when it's best to rely on a friend. Once per dungeon board, you may roll to attack with a friend, then choose the highest. So we're rolling a die. If it's between 1 to 10, nothing happens. Between 11 and 17, we're going to deal 2 damage. 18 and higher, 3 damage, and we gain a coin. And the rebel. So the wilderness lives in you, and wild things cannot be held back. Once per dungeon board, you may choose 1 attack from your combat tile, then roll again to use that same attack before the monster retaliates. So we're going to take on the role as a peacekeeper, going with some healing. Then our other choice, we have 2 level 1 cards. So you can see they're all the same. We've got 3 different attacks on each. One with we need to roll a 5 or higher, which is going to do 1 damage. It's just whether we use a short bow or a cloud of daggers. 12 and higher for hideous laughter to do 2 damage, or a short sword for 2 damage. Then we have theatrical distraction. Describe how you get the monster's attention using musical instruments or items in your backpack. Then you roll a d20. 1 to 10, nothing happens. 11 to 16, 2 damage. 17 and up, 1 damage. And we confuse the villain or the ball, so he will not attack us back. And on the other side, same numbers, it's just different ability. Describe how you use nature to attack, then roll. We will go with the theatrical distraction. And we'll just set these around the edge of the border. Then for our dwarf, going for healing again, because 2 healers in a party is probably going to help. Then our human sorcerer is going with the sage. So once per dungeon board, may bind yourself to another player, roll with a friend to attack, and use the highest. And our red dragon born rogue, doing the same thing, rolling with another person, taking the highest to see what it happens with. And each hero comes with their own d20. Then for flavor text, each is going to receive a backpack. We can do these randomly or just pick one. So they're going to give us different items. So whenever you see the backpack symbol on an adventure card, use this card to help you come up with plans. So we've got explorers, merchants, entertainers, burglars, hunters, dungeoneers, scholars, and a doctor's backpack. So we've got a bard, so we'll give him the entertainer's pack. Got a dwarf, we'll give him a dungeoneer's backpack. Human sorcerer, we'll give a scholar's backpack. And a rogue gets a burglar's backpack. So I've got a dice tray here. This did not come with the game, but it's going to help me keep the dice on camera. We also have some reference cards to help us through combat. So all the heroes are going to roll to see who goes first. Then in clockwise order, the attacking hero declares the ability to use to roll. Then the DM is going to roll for the monster. And we'll keep doing that until either the monster's defeated or we're all defeated. The hero who deals the final blow describes their kill. Now on the other side, about shopping. So if we have 5 money, we can spend that to level up. We'll also reset our health to 10. We can buy an item card for 3. Or if we do get knocked out, we can revive ourselves to spend all our money to come back with 5 health. And the Dungeon Master is going to change hands every turn. So I'm just going to use an outside die to help me keep track of that. So we'll start with the Peacekeeper being first player. And starting in a core space, we're just going to take the top card here. The way this works, if you're playing in a group, your DM is going to take this, put it in here, so they can read the card, and all the other players, if they're around the table, will see what's going on. So we're playing hooky. You hear someone singing a catchy sea shanty and decide to investigate. Yo ho ho, it's actually a group of pirates on the docks. So on guard, all players are going to roll. So each player is going to take their dice, give it a roll. Then you swash, you buckle, you barely leap from plank to plank. But if you roll below a 10, you lose your balance and lose a health. So our Peacekeeper, below a 10. Our Enforcer, below a 10. Sage, got a nat 20. And our champion got a 10. So anyone below a 10 takes the damage. So we're going to go down to 9. Same thing here. And we'll put that on the bottom of the stack. Then each player gets to move. Can either go forward or off to the side, which is where we get monsters. You can split the party. But I don't recommend that in this game or in regular role-playing. So we're all going to go to a side spot so we can see what a fight looks like. So as we discussed earlier, the side spaces are going to be monster spaces. So we will change our DM. Instead of just getting the next card, we're going to keep going until we find a monster. And it looks like we weren't set to fight a monster for a while, so we found a Hydra. Says the DM, he's going to have 10 health. Remember that for every head you cut off, another grows in its place. So on the side here, it's showing it's going to roll a 10-sided die. Depending on what it rolls, it's going to do something different. The way combat works, all heroes in the fight are going to roll for initiative to see who attacks first. Once again, our wizard got a nat 20, so he'll be going first. And the way attacks work is your player is going to roll to attack the monster. He's going to roll to attack back. Then it just goes clockwise, repeating that process until hopefully the monster is defeated. So we have 4 options. We can roll with another player and take the highest one. We can do this once per board. We can do Burning Hands, need a 5 up. Magic Missiles, needing a 12 up for 2 damage and 1 damage. Or describe how you use magic to confuse a monster, then roll. And we will try that. So we're going to make an illusionary spell to create a secondary Hydra and see if that confuses the monster. We'll roll our die. We definitely want an 11 or higher. Got a 14. So we're going to do 2 damage to the monster. So we're going to go from 10 down to 8. Then he's going to roll to attack us. Getting a 6. So Filthy Claws, 1 damage back to us. So down to 9. Then our champion has similar options. Rolling with another character, sneak attack for 1 damage, short sword for 2, or describe how you turn your surroundings into a weapon, then roll. So we're going to run around and jump around and try to tangle the heads up. Getting a 5, which is nothing happens, but the monster will retaliate on us. Rolling a 7, so we get hit for 1 damage. Down to 9. Then off to our Peacekeeper. And we're going to try something similar with a theatrical distraction. Describe how you get the monster's attention using musical instruments or items in your backpack, then roll. So we're going to start playing our antique bagpipes. And if the monster comes near us, we're going to hit him over the head with it. So rolling your die, nat 20. So when we roll a natural 20, we're going to do 1 additional damage. So 17 and up does 1 damage. With the nat 20, we're going to do 2 damage to it, and it's confused, so it will not attack us back. So down to 6 health. Then over here, we're going to use Brute Strength. Describe how you attack using only your body, then we roll. So we're going to try to apply a chokehold on one of these necks. Getting an 18, which is going to do 1 damage and confuse it, so it will not attack back. And we're back to our Sage. He's going to try to redeem himself with an illusion of showing another dwarf coming after it. Getting a 7, which is a miss. Attacked back. A 3 is no hit from the Hydra. Champion will use survivalist ability, getting a 5 and miss, then attacked back on for 7, taking 1 damage. Down to 8. Then our elf goes with his bagpipes again, getting a 19, doing 1 damage, and it's confused, so it doesn't attack back. Dwarf, wrestling, chokehold on one of the necks. Getting a 4, misses. 2, does not get hit back. Sage is feeling bad. He's going to go just do some burning hands. So we need a 5 up to do 1 damage. And we get a 9. So we take it down to 3. Get attacked back on. Filthy Claws for 1. Champion wants to redeem himself, going in with a sneak attack. Need a 5 or higher. Got a 20. So we'll do 2 damage, taking it down to 1. Get retaliated on. So a multi-headed bite, taking 2 damage. Down to 6. So our Peacekeeper, what we're going to do is use our Song of Rest to roll to see if we can do some healing. So on the turn this ability is used, the monster does not attack you. So we're rolling. Got a 19, so we can bring back 2 health to any 2 players. So we'll go up to 10. And up to 8 here. And to make sure I remember I've used his ability, I'll put a token, not included with the game, on that. Then a dwarf is going to go with his Iron Hammer, needing a 5 or up to deal the final blow. And we get a 12. So we've taken care of the Hydra. And so after defeat, everyone involved is going to get a coin and a skill card. So 1 money for everyone. Then skill cards. We'll start with the elf. Getting a pseudo dragon. What do you mean it's not a real dragon? Of course it is. So if we are successful in an attack, it's going to do 1 extra damage and we heal 1 health. And basically all these are going to be after use. Flip it until you have moved to the next location. Then our dwarf gets a bottomless potion of swagger. 1 swig, and not only do you feel unstoppable, you pretty much are. So doing pretty much the same thing there. Then for our sage, found the 1 ring. It does 1 thing. Don't get too excited. Play the shield from an attack. After use, flip it over. Then our champion gets a Ponderous Tome. When used, this hefty book will provide deep remorseful thought in your enemy while you dodge out of the way. So play the shield from an attack. And with that over, we'll move back to a core space. DM changes. Pick the next card. I smell a rat. So a rat in a top hat dances out of a sewer grate and asks if you can spare a few coins. All players roll. Then the player with the lowest roll tells the rat to scurry off. The rat is insulted and bites the player's finger and affects him with the sewer plague. So our lowest roll is our dwarf. So he tells the rat to leave, gets bit, and takes the damage. So we're all going to move over to the side and go fight a monster. Change the DM. So we're going to go through here until we find a monster to fight. So we found a rock. So with a wingspan over 200 feet long, this mama bird would have no problem bringing you home to feed her chicks. So 7 health, and we're off to fight. So rolling for initiative. Our dwarf will be going first. So with his brute strength, he's going to try jumping up on the back of this thing and pulling out some feathers. So rolling, getting a nat 20, which means we get a top ability, which is 1 damage plus 1, and confusing the rock. So down to 5, doesn't like getting feathers pulled out. Our illusionist will then try making a giant bird feeder to confuse, getting a 7, so nothing happens except we insulted the rock. Tries to swing back, but no hit. Our champion rogue tries jumping in the window and then waiting for the bird to come and shutting the window on it. Getting a nat 20, 2 damage, and it's confused. And our peacekeeper is gonna take his 5 daggers for juggling out, start juggling and tossing them at the bird. Getting a 13, which does 2 damage. And since we were successful, we'll go ahead and use this to do a 3rd damage and heal 1. So I'm going to go up to 10. The 3 damage will defeat the rock, so all the adventurers are going to get a coin. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we will all move up to the next space. DM changes. And now we're going to fight an orc archer. 10 health. His friends call him Orc Eye, but you can call him Run. So there's his damage. After defeat, we'll get a money and a card. Rolling for initiative. So our champion rolls a 20, be going first. We'll use our survivalist ability. Getting a 5, which is a miss. So the orc archer does double arrows on us, doing 2 damage. Down to 6. We'll juggle some daggers over here. Getting a 2, which is a miss. And then double arrows back on it. Down to 8 health. Brute strength. Orcs and dwarves love arm wrestling. Nat 20. So 2 damage down to 8, and it's confused, not attacking back. Then our sage using illusionist ability. 3 is going to be a miss. 6 is a longbow hit for 1 damage. Then back to our champion. Going all survival mode again. Getting a 10, which is nothing happens. Except getting shot with a longbow for 1 damage. Down to 5. Then back to our peacekeeper. Playing the bagpipes. 6 is a miss. 3 is going to be a hit for 1. Then our dwarf is going to use healing ability. Getting a 15, so 2 health to any 2 players. So taking him up to 7. And he'll bring the elf up to 9. And the monster doesn't attack. Sage is going to use his burning hands, needing a 5 or higher. Getting an 8, dealing 1 damage. Orc shoots back. Double arrows, 2 damage. Down to 7. And this is why I recommend 3 to 4 players, because if you go in there with just 2, this is probably going to kill you back when your dice aren't rolling in your favor. So over here, going for a sneak attack, just to try to get a damage in. Rolled a 9. 1 damage. Gets hit back. That's a miss. Bring out the bagpipes. We'll put my token over here as a reminder I've used the ability. 12 is going to be 2 damage. Down to 4. Double arrows for 2. All right. Dwarf goes to wrestle. Gets an 8, which is a miss. Nothing happens. And then gets shot for 2 with double arrows. Down to 6. Things are not going well. So our illusionist is going to go with that ability. Getting a 19, so that's going to do 1 damage. And confuse him so it doesn't attack back. So down to 3. Champion's going to go survival mode. Getting a 10, which is not very good at surviving. Take a hit with a crossbow. Down to 6 health. Back to our bagpipe player. Getting 18. Does 1 damage, and it's not going to fight back. Brute strength. For 9, nothing happens. 3, shot with an arrow. Trying illusionist ability. Getting a 2. Not a good illusion. 2 damage on the return. Down to 5. All right, sneak attack. Need a 5 or higher. Got it for 1 damage. And it retaliates for 1. Then we'll try our short bow over here, needing a 5 or higher. Getting a 13, which will defeat the archer. We all get a money and a card. So everyone's going to have 3 money now. So we could have them purchase an item card, but we're getting 1 for free. So our elf gets a liar, liar, pants on fire. Magical instrument that sets your enemies ablaze. So if we hit, we can use this for an extra 2 damage. Dwarf, night vision goggles. Wearing these make you look like a terrifying knight for 1 attack, complete with indestructible armor. So play to shield from an attack. For the sage, spider cloak. Hide from the bad guys, eat some flies, watch out, it's spider cloak. So play to shield from an attack. Then our champion over here gets a giant toad. Hop into battle and sick its slimy tongue upon thine foes. So plus 2 damage. And it looks like I have a lot more room over here, so I'll move some things over. Everyone is going to move up together. And now we'll be battling this. So a mob of zombies, just 4 health. Ever paranoid and always watching, the beholder tyrant Filbris has seen your useless questing. It's not frightened, oh no, but threats need to be destroyed. So we will roll for initiative. Our sage wins. So going with an illusion, create a mob of walking dead. Rolled a 9, nothing happens. So they found friends instead of enemies. And we have a strengthening grasp for 1. Going to use our spider cloak to shield us from that attack. Then our champion's going to go survival mode and hope it works. All right, hope is over. Taking 1 damage. And we'll have this start reading to shield from the attack. Peacekeeper. Bagpipes. All right, that doesn't work either. So that is no hit, so we're good there. The Enforcer is going to go in and just try to body bash all these zombies. And that failed miserably also. So that's going to do 1 damage. So we'll use our night vision goggles to shield us from that attack. Back to her Sage, making a big illusion. And failing. Taking a damage back. We'll use the one ring to shield us from this attack. Survivalist. 14. All right, so that's going to do 2 damage. And we're going to stick our giant toad on it for a total of 4 damage. And that's going to end this fight. Took long enough, so everyone's going to get a coin. So everyone now has 4 coins. We're all going to move on to the next map, which means we're going to swap off all these cards and replace them the ones from the mountain. So we'll give this a shuffle. And put that in there. All the cards will flip back over. I don't know if this is in the right spot, but we'll move it over. So we get Otto's Irresistible Dance. An ancient stone blocks your exit. Its inscription commands you dance to open it. All players except the DM must get up and dance the dance of their people. The DM chooses the dance that the stone enjoyed most and grants that player +1 health. All other players, the stone finds your dancing offensive. And since I can only do one dance by myself, everyone but the blue character is going to roll, and I'm just going to take the highest number for the best dance, which is obviously our bard. So he will get +1 health. And we'll go to our next DM. We are going to choose to go for a fight. So go looking for a monster. Finding a giant fire beetle. 4 health. All sought after for the lovely red gems embedded in their shells, giant fire beetles have learned how to turn up the heat when faced with an enemy. So 1 to 4 hit, 5 up, you're on fire. So rolling for initiative. Our champion wins. Going to go in for a survival attack, getting an 11, which is 2 damage. And we're just going to stick our toad on it right now for the insta-kill. Additional +2 damage. Everyone's going to get a coin in this battle. And instead of handing out coins, everyone's going to have 5 money now. So everyone's just going to spend all their money to level up. So what that's going to do, we'll flip this card from level 1 to level 2. And for everyone, it's going to do pretty much the same thing. So our numbers up here, still 5 and 12 to hit, but we go from 1 to 2 damage to 2 and 3. And down here, we go from 1 damage to 2, and from, well, stays at 2 damage for the center, but 17 and up is 3 damage, and we gain a coin. So losing the money, flipping over to level 2. Oh, and with this, we do heal, which is useful for those guys. These abilities did reset. All right, so everyone's level 2 now. Then we're all going to move back onto a core space. Next card up is a Carrion Crawler. Has so many legs, so many. Burn it with fire. So 7 health, 1 to 3, no hit, 4 to 7, a bug bite, 8 up, tentacle lash. So go in for initiative. Nice rolls. 14, 18, 18, 19. Champion wins. Feeling good. Going with our survivalist ability. Getting a 13, which does 2 damage. So down to 5. It's going to attack back for a bug bite of 1. Then our Sage, Illusionist. Getting a 15. 2 damage, down to 3. Attacked back for a bug bite of 1. Our Enforcer, Brute Strength, getting a 12 for 2 damage. And I'll just let that go. So down to 1. Oh, it should have been over here. My bad. We'll pretend that roll was for there. So 2 damage. Started going the wrong direction. So an 8 is 2 damage, down to 6. Then we'll let the dwarf go. Getting a 2, missed. For 1 damage. Went way out of order. I think I started here, then there, then up. So it's back to our champion going. Sorry about going out of order. We're just going to do our double sickles, 5 up for 2 damage. And that will defeat the crawler. Everyone gets a coin. So 1 for all of those. And we're happy with just going to the next core space, which is another fight, a Rusty Gorgon. 7 health, an iron bull with wicked horns and cruel hooves clinks out of the darkness. Every time he moves, his rusted armor shrieks against your ears like nails on chalkboard. So 1 to 3, no hit. 4 to 7, horns for 1 attack. 8, the poisonous vapor from its nostrils makes you faint. Skip your next combat turn. 9 up is a deadly charge for 2 damage. So rolling for initiative. Sage with the nat 20 will be going first. And going with our illusionist ability. Getting a 15, which would be 2 damage. Down to 5. Retaliated on for an 8. So it's going to skip its next turn. I'll just sit him down to remember that. Then survivalist over here. For 2, that's a miss. Then a 7 is going to be 1 damage. Took some horns. He's going to use his heal ability. So 2 health to any 2 players. Going to choose himself, going up to 8. And champion to go up to 10. That does not get hit back on. Going to do some wrestling brute strength moves. 15, 2 damage. We'll make it 3 damage and we'll heal 1. So down to 2. So this is one thing I'm not 100% sure of. It says skip your next combat turn. The way I'm going to interpret that is he doesn't attack, but he gets hit back. And doesn't matter what his roll. We're going to use our spider cloak to not take the hit. Then our champion, going to go with his double sickles, 5 up for 2 damage. And we get a 9. So that's going to defeat him. Everyone gets a coin. Then we're all going to move forward. Which means we'll be fighting the Beholder 2, aka the Death Kiss, with 10 health. The mob of zombies failed. Filbert grew impatient. It sent one of its minions to finish the job. Defeat it, or you can kiss your life goodbye. 1 to 2, no hit. 3 to 6, tentacle attack for 1 damage. 7 up is a blood drain for 2 damage, and after defeat, get a money and item cards. So go with initiative. Going with the champion. He's determined to get his survival thing to work. But 10's not good enough. So hit back as a 5 is 1 damage. Then our Peacekeeper, bringing out the bagpipes, and that missed. And that's a blood drain for 2 damage, down to 6. Our Enforcer's going to use his heal ability. 18, so choosing 2 to heal 2. We'll go there, and his luck has been bad. I'll just put these down here. Then we'll try an Illusionist ability. And miss. Taking a damage back, we're going to use our ring to be shielded. Then to redeem himself, come in with the sickles, 5 up. Does 2 damage. So down to 8. Hits back for 1. We'll go ahead and use our book to shield ourselves. Break out the bagpipes. And miss. Taking a damage back. Things been going bad. He's going to go with his crossbow, just needing a 5 up. Nat 20, so that's going to do 3 damage. So down to 5 health. And damage back is going to be 2. Actually, instead of taking 2, we'll use our night vision goggles. Try our illusion spell. And miss. Taking 1. It's going to go with a sickle. 5 up. Does 2 damage. Down to 3. Taking 2 damage back, down to 8. Then use our double-bladed scimitar, needing a 5 up. And failed. But no hit back. Then we'll try our crossbow over here, needing a 5 up. Actually, no, we'll try our brute strength again. Well, didn't matter which we went with, that was a miss. Take 2 damage back. All right, Meteor Storm, 5 up. Got a 12, 2 damage. 1 damage back to us. Then our champion goes in with his sickles, 5 up. Made it. So defeated. 1 coin and 1 card for each. The game does only come with 12 cards, so this will be our last round for that. So our elf gets a not a joke, so we can tangle up our enemies for an additional 2 damage. Our enforcer, Axe of the Dwarvish Lords. Well, that favors on our dwarf. It slices, it smashes, it's shiny. The handle is a bit short though, but he doesn't mind. Our sage gets a baby owlbear, fuzzy and fierce, and it calls you mama. So +1 damage and heal. And their champion's getting a pet mimic. Mimics your foe's appearance, which is very distracting and buys you time, and extra damage and some healing. And we're going to move on to the next board. So we reset all our cards and abilities. And we get a new stack of cards. All right, shuffling these, and we'll add those here. Continue resetting all our cards. So we're all on a core space. Witch or Wicked? Voice echoes. I'm going to cover up that. So voice echoes out of the trees. Will you share some bread with an old woman? What do you do? Better to be safe and leave some bread, or don't have any to spare and sorry. So I'm going to do this for each one, and I'm going to say all four of them are going to leave some bread. So a witch jumps out and snatches the bread. She casts a blessing on you, so +1 money for everyone. If we didn't spare any, the voice says, and I curse you, your pack straps break, and we lose the money. All right. Not that money matters anymore for us. Just brings us back from the dead. We're going to keep on moving forward. So now it's get out of my swamp. There's an ogre asleep in a swampy part of the forest. If it sees you, you're lunch. Each player come up with a plan to move through without waking it. Then all players roll for individual outcomes. So this has the backpack symbol, so we're supposed to use our backpack to come up with clues. Or so we've got a entertainer's jester costume. We're going to put on a disguise kit to walk through and hopefully go unnoticed. Over here, going to break out our dungeon maps and try to find an alternative route. The sage, same thing. He's got a pile of maps. He's going to see if any of them's useful. And our burglar. None of that's going to really help. So he'll put a large ball of yarn and try to tie it on to one of the guys with a map and follow them. Then we're all going to roll a die. It looks like we need 11 or higher. So the disguise kit worked. The dungeon maps did not work. Pile of maps did, and the yarn must have broke. So the ones that pass gains a health, the ones that didn't pass loses a health. So go up to 8. Down to 7. Up to 8. And down to 7. And we keep moving. All right, next up is Jack's Beans. Find a bag of beans stuffed into a tree hollow. What do you do? Plant them like the giant slayer you know you are, or eat them? Rations are short out here. I think we're going for the giant slayer. All 4 of them. Giant stalk of asparagus burst out of the ground. Snack time. We all gain a money. We chose not to yuck. They make your hands swell up so you can't carry anything. So everyone gains some money, but we can't level up any further. Move on to the next space. And we're fighting Beholder 3 card. Or seeing what happens here. So sound the alarm. The lightless entrance to Felbrus's lair is filled with a foul stench. A small glow beckons you forward, but when you step deeper in, an awful shrieking fills the air. So it's shrieking fungus. Come up with a plan together to silence it. DM rolls for the group's outcome. So it looks like this is just going to be 1 roll. So for a peacekeeper, he's going to play the bagpipes to try to take out the shrieking noise. Then a dwarf, torch and flint, try to catch the things on fire. Over here, Just going to read a book about fire monsters because these two ideas sounded so good. And over here, a crowbar, and just go around hitting the little things making all the noise. So with that, we're just rolling a D10. We got a 6. You silence the shriekers in time and move forward unexposed. And now we will shuffle our last stack of cards and put that in our container here. Moving forward, everything resets. Didn't really use anything though. So our first spot is something pointy. You enter a room with a throne at the end of it. Something about it is familiar. All players roll. The player with the highest roll rolls again for a closer look. So our dwarf likes this throne he's seen. So he's going to roll again. We want an 11 up. We got a 5. So you see a dragon's head-shaped button and you push it. The throne melts all over you. So we're going to take a damage. Down to 6. Then we're going to move forward. Next card is Watch Your Step. And I feel like I'm several spaces behind here. We'll just go up to there. Vanishing stairs are so pesky. While climbing a set of steps to explore the next floor, random stairs start disappearing. All players roll. So we got a nat 20 here with the dwarf. Now the player with the lowest roll doesn't make it to the top quick enough. The stairs vanishes from beneath your feet and your friends have to pull you out. So the low roll was our champion, our rogue. Did not succeed there, so down to 6 health. Then we're going to move forward one more space. Next card is To the Death. Nasty Thumb Wars. An argument about who is the bravest warrior breaks out among you. All players roll. The highest and lowest rollers must compete in a thumb war, joust for their honor. And obviously I can't do that. So it's going to be a dice roll, then another die roll. So high and low. Our champion's going off against the elf. And the high roll is going to be the winner of this thumb battle. Champion comes through. Best 2 out of 3. All right, champion has 1. Tied 1-1. Elf comes back. The player who wins claims the money. And then we go on to our final battle against the Beholder. So here, we've got 20 health to go through. 1 to 2 is a miss. 3 to 5, Nightmare Vision, take 1 damage. 6 to 9, a Disintegration Ray, taking 2 damage. 10 is a Death Ray, taking 4. So this is getting serious now. Rolling for initiative. Sage gets the honor of going first. He's going to start with a Meteor Storm, needing just 5 or higher. Getting a 5. And with that, we're going to add 1 damage to it and heal 1. So we're doing a total of 3. So down to 17. And we heal 1. Then the beast is going to attack back, but we're probably going to have something to defend with. Oops. Getting a 2, that's a miss. Never mind then. So on to our champion. Going with the double sickles, needing a 5 or higher. Getting a 5. We're going to go in with the giant toad, doing a total of 4 damage. So down to 13. And then we're probably going to have him read a book here. Yep, that would be 4 damage. Reading a book. Shield our attack. Off to our Peacekeeper. using his double-bladed scimitar, needing a 5 or higher. Getting a 1, so that didn't work. Then rolling a 6, so 2 damage with a disintegration ray. We'll shoot with a crossbow. 5 or higher. Got a 13. We'll use our bottomless potion of swagger for an extra damage and heal 1. So 3 damage down to 10. Up to 7. Get attacked back. Probably be using our night vision goggles. And that's a 10. We will definitely night vision goggles out of that one. Sage is going for a Meteor Storm. Actually, no, we're going to use special ability that I haven't been using the whole time. Friendship. We're going to roll or die with another friend. Let's see. He's fond of the elf. We'll take the highest roll. Nat 20. So that's going to do 3 plus 1, so 4 damage, and we gain a coin. Down to 6. And we'll be ready to defend. So 3 is a hit, but we're just going to use our spider cloak because we have one. Then our champion. He's fond of the dwarf, so he's going to roll with him. Taking the highest roll, which is an 18, so 3 damage plus a coin. We're going to make it 4 damage, and we heal 1 also. So coin, healing, 4 damage down to 2. It's going to attack back for 2 damage. So off to our Peacekeeper. Going in with a scimitar, needing a 5. Getting a 1. But it's a miss back. Then off to our dwarf. He's going in with our battle axe because it's thematic. Needing a 12 up. Getting a 4 and missing. And it misses back. So we'll go to our sage. Fine, he'll go with a Meteor Storm. Getting an 8 for 2 damage. That's going to defeat Fenris the Beholder. So 1 by 1, his eye stalks close their lids until finally its center eye crashes shut and it falls to the ground. The weird formations and strange creatures the Beholder conjured disappear, and the dwarves are able to reclaim their home. So that is the basics of how to play Dungeons & Dragons Adventure Begins cooperative board game. As always, I hope you enjoyed this playthrough, so please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.